Kalyane Niratham Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavitvaram. Satguru. The stanzas which we saw till now, that is yesterday, the three stanzas we covered are, the first stanza speaks about how the life at the very beginning itself, because of the karmas we have performed, we are placed in the womb of the mother. There we live without any option, suffering in that situation. And naturally, at that kind of in that situation, it's impossible for us to think about the Lord. Life goes that way. Having born, how do we live? Infant, as a child, life passes away, and there again it is quite a helpless life. We cannot take care of ourselves. For anything, all that we know is scream, cry. Limbs are so tiny, so weak, can't protect ourselves with anything. And naturally, in that kind of a condition, it's not possible for us to turn our mind towards the Lord. Then comes youth, that's what we discussed yesterday, where a life is very, very, where the mind seeks pleasure, but there is so much of pressure involved in various other aspects of life as a youth. Not sure where one is heading, not sure about the future, not sure about success. One runs into it and the whole life goes on that way. At that point of time, though they have the ability to think, but people are lost into various demands of that age and therefore never think about the Lord. This is where we go wrong. You see, in our culture, when one is in the womb of the mother, mother who's carrying a child, we tell the mother to turn to spirituality. Why? Because at that point of time, if the mother gets highly inspired with spiritual thinking, there can be an effect on the child. There are so many cases in the past which has proved this. Prahalad, Abhimanyu, etc. They were all initiated when they were in the womb of their mother. So if the mother at that time thinks about the higher, and that can influence the child. At a very early childhood, we have the ability to memorize, and we memorize unwanted stuff, which we can't forget till today. Think. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. What happened? What happened after that? Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. When did you learn this? 50 years ago? 60 years ago? 40 years ago? 25 years ago? Something which we have learned that early and we have not forgotten it till now. Try and remember this one. Adhau karma prasangat kalayati kalusham matrukukshav stitam. Try. If my mother has taught this to me when I was a child, I would remember. Think. At that age when I cannot understand much, but I can learn things which are useful, on growing up I can grasp the meaning of it. It's quite easy to learn at that time. But at that time, Either we were not taught or some reason it never happened to us. Then we come into youth, life full of pressure, lost. If at the childhood level, if we have learnt these things, as a youth, they could have come very handy. These slokas can motivate, can keep us on the path, put us on the right direction, because the verses, once we know the meaning, can set us thinking. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall cannot set us thinking. Vichar is not possible into it. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Think about it. Let us contemplate. What can we contemplate on it? What must have been the size of Jack? What kind of clothing Jill was wearing? Which hill they went up? Contemplate. Huh? But suppose we have memorized some slokas of the Gita, or nothing, even simple things like Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhavatu, how much we can contemplate on it. Saha Viryam Karavavahai. Now that's a potential line to contemplate, to think, to go deep into it. Think. So if that was done at the childhood, then at the youth, all this could have been very handy. Since unfortunately that is not done at the childhood, not all people get into this kind of a thing, naturally youth is lost. Carried away, the senses are wild, no inclination towards any of these. Try telling them, and that's the tragedy of this generation. You should know something and then reject it. These people reject it even without knowing. I don't know what that is, but I don't want. Why don't you understand? Why don't you think? No. So the only option left with, make them understand the way in which they can understand. So present it in such a way, change the methods. Slowly they begin to understand, and then they can come to the original text and take the mind towards that. But they are rare, few, who as a youth, as a teenager, turning towards spirituality is rare and few. Majority have no inclination, the life goes that way. So here the author says, Shankaracharya says, forgive me. In the womb I did not think about you, nor as a child, nor in my youth. Now all that has passed away, I am there in old age. What is my condition? He says here.
Vardhakye chendriyanam Vigatagatimatischa Adhidaivaditapaihi Papairogairbhiyogaihi Tvanavasitavapuhu Praudhihinam chadinam Mithya mohabhilashaihi Bhramati mama manaha Dhurjate dhyana shunyam Shantavyo me paradhaha Shiva 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 Bho
Shiva 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 Bho
Shri Mahadeva Shambho
Again.
Vardhakye chendriyanam
Vigatagatimatischa
Adhidaivaditapaihi Papairogairbhiyogaihi Tvanavasitavapuhu
vasitavapuhu
प्रौढिहीनं च दीनं
praudhihinam chadhinam
मिथ्यामोहाभिलाषैः
mithya mohabhilashaihi
भ्रमति मम मनः
brahmati mama manaha
धूर्जटे ध्यानशून्यम्
durchate dhyana shunyam
क्षन्तव्यो मे पराधः
shantavyo me paradaha
शिव 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 भो
shiva 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 bho
श्रीमहादेव शम्भो
Shri Mahadeva Shambho. In the womb, the childhood and the youth have passed away without mind turning towards the higher. If that's how I have lived, then when I land into old age, how does the mind react, or how do we live? He says, in old age, Indriyanam Vigata Gatimatihi. The one whose sense organs and mind, Matihi, have lost their potential. Therefore, Adidaivadi, the phenomenal forces around us, so climatic conditions, etc., afflict the body. There is no resistance because the vigor is gone. The body has become old. Slightly temperature changed, one gets affected. And it gets very difficult. So, slightly weather change, etc., the body gets into disease. And the body by itself has lost vigor. Affliction caused by phenomenal forces like sun, rain, cold, etc. Things and beings around me and my own self. Anything around me can irritate me so quickly because there is a kind of a frustration. I have not lived my life well. I turn back and I see, what have I done to myself? If I have lived a life which is satisfying, which is fulfilling, and which is towards the higher, then there is no problem. Otherwise, there are people who have achieved wonderful things in the world and all that is gone now. There is nothing. Living, waiting for death to come. What a condition that is. I don't know why. Why I'm still alive, I can't understand. Why can't death come to me? I don't feel like living. When you have all the time in the world and there's nobody around you, each day is like a week. You spend one day, it is like spending a week. From morning till evening, hardly anyone to speak. Everyone is busy in their own world and they keep going. And the body gets affected and hardly anyone to take care sometimes. And the pain of the body itself is something which we have to bear. With all this kind of a condition, left alone, in a strange kind of a world. Why? Because the people who are familiar to me are slowly disappearing. I have been living here, but the people around me are all new people now. Where are the old ones? All gone. Where are my friends? Where are my people of my age? Slowly people have gone out. They are not there. So I live at my old age almost in a new place. With new people around me. A strange kind of a feeling. Discomfort. Living in that kind of a discomfort, sometimes neglected, and that's really sad. Because when a person has lost his ability to earn, to give, people will ignore. That's how the world is. Shankaracharya says that so clearly. He says, as long as you have the ability to earn, people will follow. Yavat vitto parjana saktaha. Nija parivaro raktaha. When you have the ability, there will be people with you. Earn, give, young, there would be people with you. When that is gone, hardly anybody there, even to turn and speak. Think. Very difficult condition, isn't it? You want people around, but they are not ready to spend time with you. How do you feel? I want someone to sit and talk. Not interested. Talk to the people who work in call center, BPOs. Sometimes when they make a call, the other person does not want to keep the phone down. Keep talking. Why I am alone? People at home are not talking with me. Hardly anybody there. You speak for some time, I feel good. What a condition. Sooner or later, almost the whole population would get there. Everyone would get there. So what should I do if I get there? If I am alert, have turned my mind towards Him, prepared myself for it, I can reject the world much before the world rejects me. Please remember, world will reject. How can someone give you time always? Is not your life tight? Is not your life with tight schedules? You have something or other, isn't it? On waking up almost 18 to 20 hours, everyone is busy. The coming days would be much more busy. Leisure is gone. When one has retired and there is nothing else to do, what do you do? And that's a very bad feeling. A feeling of being neglected, a feeling of being ignored. And you keep looking at people around and they are all new people. And sometimes I'm not able to connect to the world at all. The world in which I was born, the world in which I lived, and the world now in which I am is totally different. Apart from all that, externally, internally, how am I? Unfulfilled desires tormenting me, saying, these things I missed in life, what have I done to me? Or some desires are not over, I want that. Body is worn out, but mind is demanding. What to do? Body cannot, but mind wants it. Think. Example, addiction for food. Body demands a kind of a food. Mind demands a kind of a food body cannot accept. There could be so many things of that kind, where there is a demand in the mind, but body is not capable of fulfilling it. What do you do? Frustration, disturbed. You want at least some words of consolation, hardly anybody there. Since they don't come to you, you extend your hand, try, reach them out. And once that is done, sometimes sharp exchanges occur saying, you keep away. Don't disturb me. I have so much to do. I can't sit here all day. More hurt. Why should I land into something like that? If I have turned my mind, this will not be my condition. You have left me alone, thank you so much. I have enough to do. I have enough books to read. My mind is to turn towards Him. I go towards that. Please leave me alone. We would say, leave me alone. Isn't it? If the mind is not towards that, how can we say that? We want something still of the world. After living that long, still the world is fascinating. Something we still need from the world and go on seeking it. So Shankara says, that's been my condition in old age. Please forgive me. In this kind of a mind, how can I think about you? That condition also I could not think, because mind is not prepared at all. Even if I think of you with guilt. That when I had an opportunity, I didn't turn towards you. Now what can I do? With that kind of a feeling, oh Lord, please forgive me. I need a hearing, please forgive me. I don't need to continue like this. Only your grace can save me. This is a pathetic condition one can land into. Why Shankara gives this picture? Because he must have seen people around him getting into that. He did not live beyond 32, but must have seen people living that way. And he says, this is how it will be. Beware, be careful. And time goes on so fast. The whole thing moves so quickly that we can never know. It's the same thing. When I'm fine, I must be prepared. When I'm healthy and young, I must be prepared. Then I can handle it. When everything is lost, turning towards the Lord becomes very difficult. This is what old age can do to people. So we need to keep in mind the bottom line. Prepare yourself now. You know something in our culture, something very beautiful called taking sannyas at the fag end of your life. It is there in the culture. The person is not ready for sannyas, but we say, okay, take sannyas towards the end. So when you take sannyas towards the end, it is like a preparation for the next journey. You see how the mind is, huh? At least prepare for the next journey. This time you have missed it out, it's okay, next. Taking sannyas towards the fag end of the life. It's only a preparation. So it's important that we understand that before the world can kick us out, before the world would reject us, before my body loses its vitality, before the body is worn out, let me be prepared. How to handle it even when that comes to me? Nobody to turn around you. And body is not in a position to get up and go for a walk. Even to go for a walk, I need help. Let us say, if that is my condition, how would I deal with it? When I am healthy, let me be prepared. Because I may land there sooner or later. So if the mind is turned towards the higher, there is no issue. I remember one person, two sisters came to Gurudev, and one of them was saying, Swamiji, doctors are saying I have a nervous deficiency, there can be a nervous breakdown, and it could land me into being in the bed. I don't mind dying today, not bedridden, please. Bless me for that. I don't mind dying today, but not bedridden. Bless me. Please, Swamiji, bless me. Gurudev was looking at her and he said, Arey, if you fall sick and you are bedridden, it is others' prarabdha. You relax. Think. It is the prarabdha of the people around you that they need to look after you. You relax. You just be. One can, if the mind is turned towards that, one can. Saying, yeah, fine, I can't help it now. This has come to me. I'll continue to be in the contemplative mood. Think. If I have practiced, my mind can be in the contemplative mood. If I have not practiced, try and contemplate in the old age. On what will we contemplate? Meditate? Impossible. And that's why he says, Durjate dhyana shunyam. Mind cannot meditate. It is impossible for the mind to turn towards that. Meditation, quietness of the mind looks impossible. Durjate dhyana shunyam. I am not able to turn my mind at all because I should have done it at the early stage. Now I am thinking, but my body is not willing. Since I have not practiced it earlier, how can all of a sudden I quieten my mind? Sit quietly, possible. Keep the back straight, possible. Think. So he says that when all this was there, I ignored. Now even if I try, it looks like impossible. And that could lead to more frustration, isn't it? You try attempting meditation, japa, mind keeps evading, and you look at the mind saying, hey, this is impossible. Looks like I can never control this mind. It's sad, really sad. Sometimes when people tell me, Swamiji, you should have come into my life much before. Too late now. How sad, huh? Meaning the person sincerely saying, I tried, but I'm not able to remember what you have said. I read the books, my memory lets me down. I can't regain everything I've read. There is all, like dots and dashes. There are missing links. I try to recollect, I go back to the book, I understand. Sometimes I'm able to grasp it. Sometimes my memory lets down. I can't even meditate nor contemplate. Japa, impossible. So when I think about all this, it looks more difficult for me, so I don't even do it. Give up. Again, a kind of a frustration. This is how it happens, continuing.
No shakyam smarta karma pratipada gahana pratyavaya kulakhyam shraute varta katham me dvijakula vihite brahma marge susare नास्था धर्मे विचारः श्रवणमननयोः किं निदिध्यासितव्यम् क्षन्तव्यो मे पराधः शिव 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 भो
Shiva, 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 Bho.
श्री महादेव शंभो No shakyam smarta karma pratipada gahana pratyavaya kulakhyam shraute varta katham me dvijakula vihite brahma marge susare नास्था धर्मे विचारः श्रवणमननयोः किं निदिध्यासितव्यम् क्षन्तव्यो मे पराधः शिव 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 भो श्री महादेव शंभो
Shri Mahadeva Shambho. No Sakhyam, definitely not possible. No Sakhyam, not possible. What? Smarta karma. The karmas which we need to remember always, the actions which we need to remember always, which is prescribed as sadhana. Things like code of conduct, rituals, ethics, etc., which was told, and these rituals which we do generally is a very powerful means to discipline the mind. Mind as such is wild, running all over in all directions. Try quieten it, impossible. Therefore, there is a way of discipline given to us, saying, do this, do this, do this. All these exercises can discipline the mind. Gayatri Japa, Gayatri Havan, Ganapati Havan. You sit there, invoke the Lord in the fire, see the Lord as the fire there, and do. If or discipline like that, whether it is puja, whether it is yajna, whether it is havan, these disciplines in the past helped the mind to be quiet. These activities disciplined the mind. Think. We are asking for infinity. If I want infinity, a disorganized mind cannot get it. I'm asking for the highest. I need to master my mind. Unless I master my mind, infinity is out of question. One of the titles of Gurudev, the 108 names, one is Om Anushasana Priyaya Namaha. Anushasana. The person who loved discipline, Priyaya, who loved discipline, who himself lived a disciplined life, made sure that others follow discipline. Discipline only indicates I have control over my mind. Think. You decide I have to get up at 4 in the morning, and at 4 it is impossible to get up. What happened? You made a decision that I'll get up at 4, mind does not cooperate. Why? I stayed long awake, slept only at 1. What's the point getting up at 4? Why did you sleep till 1? Oh, that because we were sitting and talking. We were talking and talking, and then when time went till 1. Now, why were you talking? Why didn't you stop at 11? That is discipline. Saying no. I need, certain things are important to me. My morning prayer is important to me. My meditation is important to me. I cannot compromise on it. So if I don't give enough rest to the mind, if I sit for prayer or meditation, it's going to be difficult. So now you see how discipline comes on the way. At 11 or at 10 you say enough now. I switch off, it's all over. Next day we start again. Now that is discipline. Having control on everything is discipline. Food, control. Punctuality, control. So it's something which is self-imposed so that this untamed mind can be tamed. Smarta karma is leading a disciplined life. What has been given in the Shastra for a seeker? Getting up in the morning, not neglecting the prayer, doing a little bit of study, living those values as much as possible. So he says, that I am not able to do now because I should have done it earlier. Now what can I do? I get up, I can't. I can't do these disciplines, my body is not letting me do, nor my mind has that enthusiasm. My mind has lost all its enthusiasm. I am not able to do this anymore. So he says, smarta karma, not possible, definitely not possible for me. Pratipada gahana pratyavaya kulakyam. Each word of which is difficult to understand and is endowed with sorrow. Now I take up to read. I try reading Gita. Each word itself is so difficult. Why? When I can read well, I neglected it. I ignored it. I didn't bother. It was there always, and how frustrating it would be. Many a times people have told us saying, hey, take to this. It would be useful. It can be by your side and that will be your strength. You don't have to bother about it. Neglected. And when I am absolutely distressed, I pick that book. I try to read 1 or 2 verses. Vaguely I understand. Some of it is very difficult to understand. I read and I find, I can't understand this. That is my solution. That is the solution for me to get out of my problems. Lead my life at peace and evolve further. But that, I have access to it, but gahana, it is subtle, it is difficult. Pratipada. Every third line is difficult for me to understand. What do I do? So then, people ask, tell something simple, I can't understand all this. Your problems are complicated, you want simple solution. How can a simple solution? Just do japa, simple solution, do. No, I'm not able to do. I chant and at the third chant my mind is gone. Isn't it? Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. I either sleep, mind gone somewhere, lost into something. What do I do? All that, why? Why did I land up into something like that? When I had the ability, I neglected. Omission. When I had all the possibilities to do something nice, to grow and evolve, I ignored. I never thought so. But I would be in a condition like this. That is the mistake we make. I was talking once with a police inspector in Punjab. And that too, particularly when Punjab was with a lot of terrorism, so much of violence was going around, militancy, and a lot of youngsters were joining the militant groups. Just join and go. He said, we sat down, we analyzed. How do we stop youngsters joining militant force? Because fresh blood keeps coming in and the forces are strong. How do we stop it? Unless we stop these guys getting into militancy, we can't find a solution. Then they analyzed why these guys join militancy. Why a youth gets confused and joins the militant group. Why? Because at that point of time, one of the things the mind feels, it's a kind of a revolution, I must be part of it, doesn't think deep enough. And doesn't think deep, so it is very easily one can be brainwashed, misguided, and one doesn't see longer. So when someone joins a militant group at the age of 18, when he can't think how he would be at 30, an 18-year-old, to think how he or she would be at 30, 35 is very difficult. They don't think that deep. But if you can make them see someone 22, 23, how they would be, then they wake up saying, hey, in 2-3 years' time, this is what I would be. So they made sure that this age gap of 30 was brought down to 25. Made the youngsters see someone at 25, what happens to him if he's a terrorist? What happens to him when he is caught? What happens to his life? Then people were able to see it. So now, making them aware, saying, this is what your condition would be when you get old, is something which not all people see. But if it is reduced a bit, then it hits us strong, saying, I would also be like this. Shankara is trying to do that only. He's trying to tell us, saying, you still have the ability, commit to this path. Read, reflect, so that we are able to understand, grasp. If I can't do it and I neglect, and at old age I try to read, and I'm not able to understand. And what would be more hurting, that this was available for me all the while and I didn't take to it. How hurting that would be. It was there for me all the while. Last 40 years in my life it was there for me. I remember my father telling, I remember my friends telling, I remember so many people telling, I ignored. And today I understand, saying, this would have saved me from this misery. This would have helped me out. And now I struggle even to understand one word. Pratipada. Every third sentence is going to be disturbing. It's difficult to understand. Almost every word is difficult to understand. So it's a very peculiar condition. And then he says, with this kind of a condition, in spiritual path, what is very, very important is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. These three are very, very important. Please remember, if I have to reach my destination, these three are necessary. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. This is the way. Shravana, what we are doing right now is Shravana, listening. When we sit in a study class, study group, what we do is Shravana, listen. And I come back next week for study class again to do Shravana. In between, did you do Manana? Nah, that I did not do. Only Sevak does Manana. Sevak does Manana because I need to take the class, so I prepare and I go. Next week again I go, Shravana. And when I listen for 1 hour, I tell you how memory works. If you listen to something for an hour, immediately sit down quietly for 15-20 minutes immediately. Then there is a possibility at least 45 or 50% you would have grasped. Because you sat quietly, thought about it, we can remember. If I say, no, I'll go home and think. I go home, there is something else and mind goes. And in the evening I think, what did we discuss in the morning class? 20% I may remember. Next day, hardly 1-2 sentences. Think. So Shravana itself is incomplete. I listen, but I do not contemplate on what I listen. I do not reflect on what I listen. Where would I head? Listening and listening and listening. Gurudev, very witty, sometimes can be highly sarcastic when he puts out something. In Chennai, he did this once. He said, 4th row, 3rd seat, I know who is sitting. Mr. Rao. Last 13 years he's been doing that. 5th row, 7th seat, who is sitting? I know who that is. He says they are all professional listeners. What is your profession? Listening to Vedant. Professional listening. I keep listening. What is the point listening if I do not contemplate on it? Do not give time to reflect upon what has been said. I listen to something, I go reflect upon it. Once we can reflect upon it, that verse gets deep into me. Shravana enters into me only when I do reflection. Otherwise it passes away, slowly forgotten. So reflection is very, very important. After listening, we need to reflect upon what is that we heard or what is that we read. One needs to reflect. In old age, memory lets me down. I can't even remember what I have read. I can't even remember what I have heard. Reflect upon it. What can we reflect? That's why he said, Vriddhastavat chinta saktaha. In old age, what one does is, all that which I am familiar about, I keep reveling only in that. Worry, pain, pangs. So first I must know to listen, and then after listening I should know to reflect upon it. By reflection, by churning on what we have heard, clarity comes. When clarity comes, Nididhyasana takes place. I would be in a position to follow it, bring it into my life, practice it. So Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Manana is really, really important. Unfortunately, many people don't do it. They only do at Shravana level. Take time off to reflect all that you have read. If you have understood a verse, understand that verse so that there's no doubt on it again. That is reflection. How does this mean? What does this verse say? How do I understand? Understand it so thoroughly that there cannot be another doubt coming out of it. After understanding that verse, immediate focus must be, how am I going to practice it? What are the steps for me to practice that? And then I become aware. This is what the verse is. I read or I heard. I reflected upon it so that now there are no doubts. The verse is so clear to me. Third step would be like, how will I practice it? Think. Yesterday we were talking about in the evening class, Yada sammarate chayam kurmongani vasarvasha, tortoise. Read that verse. Reflect on it. See that there is no room left for any doubts in understanding that verse. The clarity is so clear. Yes. Once I have understood it well, now I am going to apply. Where all in my life I can apply this? Today, is there a possibility for me to apply? I'll apply it here. When I become conscious where all I can apply this, what I have understood, when I come across that situation, I apply it. That is Nididhyasana. That way, what we have reflected, when we go on applying, we will slowly get into meditation. The reflection will throw light, reflection will give clarity, by which the mind slowly becomes quiet. Nididhyasana. These three are important. Seekers of truth walk this path will follow these three. That's why he says, Dvijakula, the one who is born second time, twice born. Once born to father and mother. Second time, we take a birth again in this very life. Twice born, initiated into knowledge. A seeker in you is born. First only a human is born. I live as a human. Then I come across this knowledge. Then in me a seeker is born. So something is born for the second time. I have become a seeker of truth. Dvijavara, born twice. First was ordinary birth, second was a birth in search of knowledge. Brahma Marge, that person walks the path towards Brahman. And to go towards the path, to walk in this path towards Brahman, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is necessary. So in the old age, this man says, I missed out on all this. I had an opportunity to be a seeker, I ignored. I never walked this path. Today, I know to walk this path you need Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Impossible for me. Shravana itself is so difficult. Where is the question of Manana? And that little which I have understood, I do not have the enthusiasm to apply it. Nididhyasana is out of question. So what happens? The seeker turns back and looks and says, I think I have no hope. Imagine if that is taken away from life, what would life be? The feeling that I am doomed and I have to live rest of my life doomed. No way. One should not land into this kind of a condition. That is the wake-up call. All these verses are like slaps on the face saying, don't, you are careless, this can be the condition. You are careless, this can be the condition. Wake up. Continuing.
Snatva pratyushakale snapana vidhi vidhau nahritam gangatoyam pujartham va kadachit bahutara gahanad khanda bilvi dalani नानीता पद्ममाला सरसि विकसिता गन्धपुष्पे त्वदर्थं क्षन्तव्यो मे पराधः शिव 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 भो श्री महादेव शंभो
Shri Mahadeva Shambho.
स्नात्वा प्रत्यूषकाले स्नपन विधिविधौ नाहृतं गाङ्गतोऽयं पूजार्थं वा कदाचित्
Pujartham va kadachit
बहुतरगहनाद्
Bahutaragahana
खण्डबिल्वीदलानि नानीता पद्ममाला सरसि विकसिता गन्धपुष्पे त्वदर्थं क्षन्तव्यो मे पराधः
Yo me paradaha
शिव 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 भो
Shiva 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 Bho
श्री महादेव शंभो
Sri Mahadeva Shambho. Repenting further, the person says, not once I got up at dawn, early morning. Not once I got up. Snatau pratyushya kale, the time of the sunrise at dawn, not once I got up. I did not at dawn get up, go and take a bath, refreshing myself. Because when I want to do prayer, japa, meditation, my mind must be fresh. I can't be tamasic and then do. It will not help me. So taking a bath, etc., makes me fresh. So I never did this in the morning. I never got up to do all this. Nor did I go to the river. Old ritual. It was very interesting in the past. People used to get up, see the discipline of the life before you start your daily work. Go to the river, take a bath, take a pot of water, go to the temple, pour it to the Lord. I start my day that way. Pour it over the Lord. Do a little prayer there, sit quietly, meditate for a while, get up, go into your work. Again, Sandhya time in the evening, same kind of rituals. Follow quite in your mind. So here he says, I never got up at dawn, nor did I ever bring a pot of Ganges water, minimum, not just Ganges, any water, go and offer. I never did anything of this kind. Nor did I do Abhishekam, nor did I bring leaves, Bilva leaves and offer to you. Nor did I ever attempt going and bringing lotus and offer to you. Whether it is water, whether it is a leaf, whether it is a flower, what matters is, in the morning I remember you and I offer to you. Offering is an expression of love. I love someone, I never offer anything. Impossible. We give what we have. You have knowledge, you give knowledge. You have wealth, you give wealth. When we love someone, we would like to give. That is the expression of love. Giving. It is only selfishness which will go on receiving. Love will go on giving. So giving, taking water and offering it to the Lord is an expression of love. Collecting bilva patra, just a leaf. Go there and offer it to the Lord, saying, this is what I come to you. And see our culture, so beautiful. These are simple things available everywhere. A tulasi leaf, a bilva patra. And we say God loves all this. You understand? He loves all this. So to bring a glass of water, what is the difficulty? And he loves, therefore, this is what he loves. It's part of my daily discipline that he loves, and therefore I go give it to him. So it's a well thought of, isn't it? Simple things which is made as something Lord loves, so that I make sure that I have it with me to give. A bilva leaf or a tulasi leaf, what is so difficult in collecting it? Go there with full heart of faith and love, saying, here I offer to you. Why? You love this. Not difficult things, isn't it? Suppose you say, Lord loves something which you don't find in your city at all. You have to go to the neighboring country and then get it, import it, and then that is what I have to offer. Simple things only we fail to offer. If it is little more difficult, who will do it? But see how beautifully made. He loves Ganges water. He loves the water from the river. Toyam, a drop of water. Pushpam, a flower. Think. Simple things which are made as something Lord loves, that means I have an opportunity to give, offer. By that way, when I go there in the morning, I go and offer a flower or a petal, a leaf or a drop of water. That very offering is an expression which, as we discussed, is an expression of love, purifies me. Slowly, you know what happens? In love, the beloved becomes your priority. When you are in love, who is your priority? When people in love fight out of jealousy, what is it? You lost me out on your priority. You claim you love me, I must be in your priority always. If you show interest to something else, I cannot accept, isn't it? When you love, the beloved becomes your priority. Giving is an expression of love. Daily doing it, the Lord becomes our priority. When the Lord becomes our priority in life, we have changed. Now nothing else to do. You just be, everything else will come. Because that has become our priority, and then with that we will look at the rest of the roles we play in life. I'm a devotee and a husband, I'm a devotee and a wife. Very different, isn't it? I'm a wife and a devotee. You understand? I'm a businessman, I'm a son, I'm this, I'm that, and also a devotee. No. I'm a devotee and a father. I'm a devotee and a teacher. I'm a devotee and a wife. I'm a devotee and a businessman. You see, so much difference. That would become very easy to us if we have this kind of a discipline of going and offering daily. And these are the simple things available in abundance. We just collect, go there and offer. Give it, give in. It's not that he wants. We giving makes us love. Our priority in life changes. Think. Our priority in life should be God. Then only life is meaningful. That changes. Various other interests slowly drops off because this becomes more. You see how beautifully a disciplined way is given. By small things we can keep remembering Him daily, and slowly we will see that becomes more important. And when we can anchor in Him, we play this game well, isn't it? The world, various things in the world becomes an interesting game to play. Why? I am anchored in Him. Anchored in Him, the game of life is so easy. I am not rooted in the self. I try and play. Game can be very serious. Old age can be very painful. Body health loss can be extremely hurting. But if we are rooted in it, all this doesn't matter. And life by itself is fulfilling. Nananita Padmamala Sarasi Vikasita Gandha Pushpe. I have not offered lotus flowers. That is again no. Lotus is a symbol of perfection in our culture. So here he says, in lamenting he says, I never went, picked up lotus flower and offered it to you, which I should have done it. I didn't do. But lotus as such is a symbol of perfection, purity and beauty. Born in slush, grows up with such beauty. See the beauty of that flower. From slush, something comes out so beautiful. And the perfection is such that the slush cannot make it dirty. A lotus remains pure. Water touches it, does not make it wet. In the water, muddy waters, the flower comes up. Water touches the flower, does not make it wet. So it's a symbol actually of purity, perfection. So that's why most of the gods have that. It's a message by itself. So here he says, I never collected any of these things and offered it to you. All these omissions of mine, please forgive me. I tell you, this will be effective. When I realize truly that these are the things I have been omitting in my life, lot of omissions have taken place. Now I realize that I should not have done this. I repent sincerely. That repentance itself can purify the mind. That's why here he says, I repent, please forgive me. I have neglected, please forgive me, drop it. With that sincerity, if we do, that is enough. It can purify us. How it purifies and how it takes us further, we'll take that tomorrow. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.